This word is related to, I kept seeing 13 everywhere. Everywhere I was seeing 13. And God gave me completed this word Sunday. And so it relates to, let me go to it. James chapter 2. And he gave me verse 13, where it talks about mercy trumps judgment. And so if you go through that chapter, James chapter 2, it talks about judging people. It talks about judging the book by its cover. And what God was telling me, he said, stop judging. It says, stop judging the book by its cover. You don't know who God is using. Unless God has told you or you have tested. And so what God is saying is that we're about to come into a time, some tests that is going to either get you into the promised land or keep you at the promised land. I know I've said this before, but God is putting some fire behind this, because so Moses was qualified, right? Yes, Moses had a temper. He had a speech impediment. He had fear, and he had doubt, self-doubt. But God told me this. He said, Moses was qualified. When God told Moses to speak to the rock, God told him because he knew he can do it. But Moses didn't, because he always had a problem with stuttering, because why he took things into his own hand. That's why he took things into his own hand. Forgetting God is our help. We have to remember Philippians 4:13. That's 13 again. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Don't let your frustration and lack of faith make you cancel out your promised land. And God was saying that he's going to test us to see if we're ready for our promised land. But see, the thing is, some of these tests they're going to, like I said, either let you in or keep you out. Now, God will have mercy, depending on who or what it is, right? To where he'll give us another chance to right our wrongs, right? And God said, what are or were some things that made you feel God can't use you? See, Moses thought that he couldn't be used because he couldn't really speak according to what he thought disqualify him. But God said, what you feel like what you feel like disqualifies you actually qualifies you, so he can use you and get the glory. I don't know who this is for, but I heard adulterer. So you feel like because you had that problem that you feel like God still can't use you. It's like you have like self-pity, but God said it qualifies you for the nations that have the same thing that they are dealing with. See, so God, that's what God is saying. So he's saying what you think that you can't do, you can do with the Lord. And God says, seek his face and he will give you all that what you need. So you gotta say all that. What? Anyways, so let me finish this video. So to finish the video, I was hearing adulterer. So what God was referring to was King David and Abraham. How King David and Abraham went ahead of God. They did not wait on God, but instead they bore children. They bore a child in doing whatever they wanted to do. What God was saying was King David and Abraham went ahead of God, and God did not bless it. God killed King David's son that he had with Bathsheba, the first one, and also Abraham. First he, cursed it, and then he ended up sending him away. So he also did say he was going to bless and give him his own nation and all that stuff, but he sent them away. More of the story, don't go ahead of God when you have and do these things. And when we talk about adultery, we're not talking, of course, it might be somebody who did it in a natural, but also when you cheat on God, when you go outside of his will, when you do things that he did not tell you to do, when you worship small g gods, and that thing can be anything you put before God. God has said, when you do that, this can be the end result. It not being blessed or it being killed. Him allowing it to die. Him allowing it to get sick. So also, God said he wants to bless your womb and God wants to bless your loins. But if you keep going outside of the will of God, when you keep sinning, you're going to catch something and somebody else will have to pay for and lose and will have a loss because you did not listen to what God is saying. So take this back to God and remember, God, whatever your whatever that thing is that you used to battle with, God said he'll still use you. That does not disqualify you. If anything, it qualifies you. So now you got something to talk about. Now you got somebody that you can go and speak to. Now you got somebody who you can go and deliver out of that same thing that you was delivered out of. So yeah, take this word back to God. Understand that you are qualified.